Thank you for coming, everybody. Who is here for the first time at the Startup Grind? Oh, wow. Loads of new people. Before we kick off, quick note about Startup Grind. Startup Grind is an organization which is designed to help entrepreneurs. And we have a simple mission to help every entrepreneur on the planet. You might know we are 5 years old. We are today in 200 cities around the world. London is one of them. And this is what we do. We help connect entrepreneurs with investors, with advisors, with mentors. And we invite every month somebody inspiring, somebody like our guest tonight. And before we kick off, just a few words on the background of the speaker tonight. So this lady we have here tonight on stage, she was named one of top 15 women in tech to watch by Inc. magazine. The company she built and co-founded was named the second fastest growing in the UK in 2012 by Deloitte. And without any further ado, please give a really warm welcome to Sarah Wood. Sarah, we are really honored to have you here. Thank you for coming. And there's this funny story because I bumped into you quite a few times.
Always bumping into you in very old places. Not at all suspicious.
Last time I bumped into you, it was at the lobby of Wall Street Journal.
That's
a couple months ago, and we just had a quick chat. And a few months after that, I saw the news that you sold the company to Wall Street Journal, to News Corp. So it's a very small world. And when I invited you to come on stage here, we were just about to host a talk with the founder of Web Summit. And you told me something which is like a serendipity.
That's right, always in that lobby. The number of people that you meet in the lobby when you're trying to keep things quiet and be discreet is just astonishing. But yeah, Paddy, you had Paddy speak, didn't you, last month, Paddy Cosgrove, who's founder of Founders and Dublin Web Summit. So yeah, last year at Dublin Web Summit, I met, it was the first time that we met the news team, and I met Rachel Sharp, who's their chief data scientist, really awesome woman, very passionate about data, and we were supposed to be speaking together in a fireside chat, the two of us. We were being interviewed by a TechCrunch journalist. Everything was, if you've ever been to Dublin Web Summit, you'll know it. It's huge, it's massive, it's crazy, it's insane, it's got so much energy. But things run, sometimes can run a couple of minutes late and people aren't always where they're supposed to be, and that's part of the fun of it. But the journalist was running a bit late and we thought we might have to interview each other quite like this evening. It was so cool. We sat down together and we just said, okay, well, these are the questions that I want to ask you. She said, these are the questions I want to ask you. We had a great conversation off stage before we even got onto the stage, and that was the beginning of the relationship. She introduced me to various people across the business. The two teams met, we got talking about how we could be working together, and realised that actually there was a strategic fit and a shared vision that was much broader than just an operational partnership.
And the deal is done.
The deal is done. Yes, the deal is done. Yes. Yeah. So we announced it a few weeks ago, and it was inked at the end of September. So yeah, all signed. So.
Congrats! It's a big deal.
Thank you.
Did you decide to sell the company because you want to go on a holiday for 2 years?
No, Anonymous got it right. Anonymous said, why did you decide to sell it and grow it even more? Well, that is the answer in the question. We decided to sell so we could grow it even more. And you know us at Unruly, we enjoy having fun, but we enjoy doing great work for our clients, and we enjoy scale and having an impact. And that is what is so cool about being an entrepreneur, is you can have massive impact on your own world, on the world of people around you, on the world of your clients. And we really felt that with News, as our partner, as our parent company, we'd be able to deliver better campaigns for clients, we'd be able to accelerate our roadmap and be able to grow our presence even faster.
That's very true. Now, let's take a step back and start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
That's not a step, that is like a marathon. So in the very early days, the northeast, Newcastle upon Tyne, so north of England till I was about 10, and then moved down to Brighton with my family.
And how did you discover you have something in you to be entrepreneurial?
Well, I don't know that there is a moment of discovery, and I think there are lots of myths around being a founder and being an entrepreneur. and there are stereotypes that prevail. And the stereotype is of the founder who says, oh yes, I was running businesses from the age of 10. I'd sold so much popcorn that I bought my first micro scooter at the age of 11. And I would say that's not always the case. And lots of entrepreneurs come at it from different ways. I've always enjoyed doing stuff. So all the way as I was growing up, I would do little things. I guess I never thought about them as businesses, whether it was car washing, dog walking, dog sitting. Had my first job age 12, that was egg packing. He only gave me that job because I kept finding the farmer's dog. He was an adorable dog, and taking him back, and the farmer was paying me for finding his dog. And then eventually said, you know, rather than finding my dog, why don't you come and work in my egg packing factory? So I've always loved trying different jobs, and have been an academic for a very long time as well. So it's been, my parents would always laugh about the perpetual gap year. Every time there was a qualification, then that was a chance to take a year and do something different, whether it was PR, events, setting up a tutoring agency, teaching maths and physics, just trying different things.
Yeah. And all the way to Unruly, how did it start?
Again, it's difficult to find a starting point and name one moment. And I'm always very jealous, very envious of founders who have these really strong foundational narratives. The Innocent narrative is fantastic, you know, where he says, I just said to people, try the drink, and if you think I should set up a business, put the empty bottle here. If you think I shouldn't, put it here. We have no such myth. There is no such story. But I would say it came out of the three of us, so three founders, myself, Scott Button, and Matt Cook. And Matt and Scott had worked together on a previous startup called Connextra. It was the first ad tech company to do real-time odds. So they'd come out of a really exciting advertising environment. I was still working in academia at the time, in revolutionary literature, in visual cultures, really interested in politics and how communications was changing over kind of seismic periods of political change. And was feeling a bit fed up because I could see that being an academic was great, but it doesn't have much impact. And it was slow. And you do all this amazing work in an ivory tower, but then nobody sees it. And at the same time, I was a mum, and I had two children, and it broke my heart every week to have to go down to Sussex and leave my kids in London and teach, and I had a full teaching workload. And I just thought, I can't keep doing this. And then 7/7 happened, which was the bombing at King's Cross, and I was really luckily and very thankfully not in it, but close enough to be evacuated, and just had one of those days where you count your lucky stars and you just think, wow, okay, so some people aren't going home today. And it just makes you reevaluate and think, am I doing what I want to be doing? Am I living life to the full? And at that moment I realised that I wanted to be close to my kids. So it's a very personal decision. I wanted to set up a business, be closer to home, have control over my own time frame, travel when I wanted to, and be there for the kids rather than being a train journey away. Yeah,
you mentioned the 7/7. I read an article that there was a lady, a girl in her 20s, who was sitting in a carriage, in the next carriage, who exploded, and she was a little bit injured. Then she went upstairs, took a bus, and the bus exploded. She's still alive. She made it, but you know, when you're thinking about having a bad day, she had a really bad day.
That's a bad day.
Yeah, she still made it.
And it's interesting because crisis and change often go hand in hand together, and it's often in those moments of crisis when change happens, and that's something that I found from a business perspective. It's one of our values at Unruly is embrace change, and change is quite difficult to affect in organisations, and sometimes it takes a crisis. I believe that it needn't take a crisis, and if you build it into the values. And if you make change feel safe and feel something that people have control over, then it needn't be so scary.
Didn't take many conversations with your co-founders to start Unruly?
No, it didn't take too many conversations. Most of the conversations were around what we were actually going to do. And this was the big kind of hairy challenge. We knew we wanted to do something. That was related to the social web, because this was what was exciting. So 2005, when we were talking about it, and we were thinking, you know, what should we be doing? So we want the autonomy. We don't want to have bosses. We want to be doing something that is tied to the internet, that is taking advantage of the social web. And we just tried things. Luckily, we have a really strong shared approach. which is an XP approach. So that stands for extreme programming. It's an extreme flavour of agile. And this is where you just build MVPs. It's lean, except there was no such thing as lean then. This is before the book on lean startup. And it's also known as just, I guess, trial and error. So you just try things, and you try them quickly, and you test quickly. So you always know what it is that you're testing. You try something, and if it doesn't work, you move on. So we started off, we set up a website called eatmyhamster.com. And it was based on an old headline from The Sun, funnily enough. It's funny how these things kind of come back around. And we realised that we loved finding content on the web, but we really struggled to find funny content. And I really enjoy watching funny videos, jokes, funny pictures. I just think laughter is so important. And we set up this site because we thought it would compete with eBAM's World, which is a little bit scurrilous. And we set up about the same time as Reddit, but they did a lot better than us. And we loved it, we really enjoyed it, but we struggled to build an audience quickly. And what we did find was that it was hard to find content. And we also saw that lots of people were enjoying video. So we thought, okay, let's try something else then. So we built Viral Video Chart. Viral Video Chart was a site that ranked the most shared videos on the social web. So we already had 2 developers, our CTO Matt, and we'd hired another developer. Didn't know what we were building, but hired another developer because we knew that we wanted to be developing in pairs and sharing the knowledge. And almost immediately overnight, that was successful.
What was the pain you wanted to solve? To help people find the fun
Exactly,
videos?
that was the pain that we were experiencing. We were trying to find good content quickly, and we were really struggling. And I remember uploading a joke to the website, eatmyhamster.com, and someone commented on it and said, "This joke is dinosaur old." And I just thought, oh no, this is really bad. You cannot afford to be dinosaur old on the social web. So at that point we realised we can solve it with software. So that's why we built Script, blog scanning software, so we were able to see which videos were shared. Then we had brands, agencies coming to us, content creators saying, "I love this chart. How do we get our videos into the chart?" And we realised that there was a bigger problem, which was that brands were starting to create video content for web and beginning to think about how they could get that content shared, watched, and there was no way to do it at that